So we recently went on a 3-week safari through Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda. And in this video we're going to tell you what you need to pack for your African safari based on our experience not just with that trip but previous safaris we've done in South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe and Zambia. So we're going to start by showing you a unisex packing list for a basic African safari, which is based around the idea of you doing laundry once a week.
And then once you've got your basic list, we're going to show you how to add on a few things in case you want to go to the beach, do some jungle trekking, or even climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
So we're going to start with what suitcase you need to bring.
A lot of people are going to tell you that you actually need to bring one of those small, soft-sided suitcases for a safari, and that's the only thing that you can get away with. That's not really true. We saw tons of people bringing big, hard-sided suitcases to the lodges, and most of the time you're going to have porters as well who are going to help you carry your bags. The only real restriction that you need to worry about is if you're taking any internal flights and if those airlines have restrictions. So always check with your tour company to make sure what bags you can actually get away with bringing. What bag did you bring, Karl?
Glad you asked me. So what I brought is what I bring on every trip, which is a hybrid between a suitcase and a backpack. And it's made by a brand called Caribbean, and it's like a 70-litre backpack, and it just means you can roll it around most of the time, but if you're ever on like uneven terrain, you can turn it into a backpack.
And did you have any trouble with a bag that big?
And I had zero trouble with a bag that big. Thank you for asking, Jamie. Yeah, it was absolutely fine. No one even blinked an eye about the size of this bag, even though it's 70-litre. The weight of it was fine, and so it worked perfectly.
And so I, for this trip, used basically a smaller version of Karl's backpack. It's another one that can be converted into a backpack. Did I ever convert it into a backpack on this trip? No, I never did. But I still liked having it for this because of these really rugged wheels. So it's able to be carried over rugged terrain if it needs to be.
Yeah, and a thing to note, if you're on like a camping basic trip, then you're going to be carrying your bag everywhere. If you're staying at the resorts, like I barely even touched this thing because they wouldn't even let you carry it to your own room. The porters just insisted. So yeah, bring what you want. So one of the most important things to bring on any trip are packing cubes. I swear by these because I've been using them for years, and it just makes your life so much easier when you're traveling, because no matter how neat and tidy you might pack your suitcase, it's going to get all moved around and jumbled up when you're traveling around. So by having packing cubes, you can keep your clothes separated, organized, neat, and you can just find whatever you need instantly. And that brings us on nicely to this week's sponsor. My friends Tim and Finn run a company called Trip Travel Gear, and their packing cubes and other travel accessories are absolutely fantastic. And we've been using them for years, and the packing cubes have a double zip compression system so you can tightly pack in as much as possible. And you can click on their link in the description to check out their full range of products. And this is one of the newer ones, but I can show you how I've been using it for years because this is one that's all old and creased and dirty, and they're going to be screaming at me now because you can actually wash these in the machine and keep them clean and tidy. I just haven't, sorry guys, but yeah.
They're great to use on safari as well because they're basically like little drawers. You're not really going to have time to pack and unpack your suitcase every day when you're moving around. So this way you can just open up your suitcase, take out your little drawer and put it out on a table, and you stay super organized, which for someone like Karl is a good thing.
Yeah.
And for someone like me, who becomes a human tornado whenever I'm unpacking, unless I have packing cubes, it's really good.
Yeah.
For marital harmony.
They can put that on their testimonials on the website. That's a freebie for you, Tim and Finn.
So we talked about this in our 20 tips video. A common misconception about safaris is that you need to wear safari colors, basically olive green, brown, cream, tan, the whole time. And how that isn't true. You're going to be in Jeeps the whole time. You can basically wear whatever color you want. The thing that you really need to be thinking about when you're packing is actually the material of the clothing. It's Africa. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and there's a good chance that you're going to get caught in a rainstorm at some point. So quick dry clothing and fabric that's really light and breathable is absolutely your friend. Also, I hate to break it to you, but that linen safari outfit that you've been thinking of is going to be a wrinkly mess in about 2 minutes when you've been sitting in a Jeep. So maybe don't bring that. I'm sorry to crush your dreams.
So let's start with tops. Like we said, we're going to bring a week's worth of clothes. So can you guess how many tops I'm going to bring? It's 7. So it's pretty simple. I just packed 7 different t-shirts, and that's me good to go for the week.
And for my 7, I have chosen 1 long sleeve top, 3 t-shirts, and 3 tank tops. For your bottoms, again, we're keeping it simple, 3 or 4 depending on your preference. So I've got 1 pair of leggings, 1 pair of shorts, 2 pairs of trousers, one of which is a hiking trouser that is water resistant.
And very simple, I have 2 pairs of shorts, I've then got a pair of outdoor trousers that's good for hiking, and then I always bring a pair of jeans wherever I go. Layers. So what layers are you going to need? Obviously I'm not just wearing a t-shirt on top the whole time. Depending on the temperature varying during the day, you're going to need to layer up. And this is particular of note if you're going on a safari in like the southern countries like South Africa or Namibia. It can be very hot in the day, like up to 30 degrees. But at night time, when you're in like the Namibia desert, it can get down to near 0. So I have a shirt to wear on top of my t-shirt. Obviously it's going to be a check shirt because it's me. And then I have a hoodie as another layer. And then I have a waterproof jacket as well. And this wasn't necessary for the Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda trip because we're closer to the equator, but on the southern trips, I bring a down jacket as well to keep you warm at night and also on those early sunrise safaris.
And for my layers, I have just a white button-up shirt. I really liked having this because you can sort of dress it up for dinner a little bit, and you can use it as a beach cover-up as well. My fleece and my waterproof jacket. And now, the most important topic, your underwear. How many pairs do you need, and how often can you wash them? Big thing about Africa that you need to know is how many times you're going to be able to do laundry. Most of the places that you're going to be staying actually have laundry facilities, so you don't really need to worry about that. But there are 2 things that you really need to remember. The first being that most of the lodges that you're going to be staying don't have dryers. They're actually going to be hanging all of your stuff to dry if you're getting laundry done there. So that means that you usually give them your laundry really early in the morning, like before your first game drive, and you get it back either late that night or the next morning. Practically speaking, what that means is if you're only staying 1 night at a lodge, you're not going to be able to do laundry there because you're just not going to have enough time to let it dry. The second thing to know is that most places are going to charge you for laundry, and some of them are quite expensive. So because of that, you may want to pack at least a week's worth of underwear so you can pick and choose the kind of places that you want to do laundry at, or be able to wait until you get to a city where there's a laundromat. So all that being said, in here I have 7 pairs of underwear and 5 pairs of socks. I'm also packing 3 bras. And no, you don't get to see my underwear, you perverts.
Honestly. Oh yeah, and this is my underwear as well. Yeah, 7 boxes, 7 pairs of socks. Now, footwear. This can vary depending on the individual, but what I usually take on a trip is casual pair of shoes like these trainers, some flip-flops are always good to have, and then some outdoorsy hiking shoes. The hiking shoes aren't essential if you're just going on safari. In fact, my good friend James would argue that you never need hiking shoes because he just wears Vans for whatever he's doing in any time of his life.
Need to find some more string.
And for my pairs of shoes, I've got 1 outdoor sneaker, and then my casual shoes are going to be a pair of sandals, and I've also got some tepas for all-purpose.
You're also going to need a cap or a hat, some sunglasses, and a bathing suit because there's nothing better than chilling by the pool, having a beer. When you've been out all day on like a dusty safari, you just want to just sit by the pool and jump in and relax. So definitely don't forget a bathing suit.
I'm a big fan of my Tilly hat. It makes me feel like an adventurer, but it's not necessary. But you look so cool.
You do.
One more not super necessary thing, but something that I like to bring is I like to bring something that I can wear to dinner that's a little bit nicer than my everyday safari clothes. So I've just got this black jumpsuit. It's really versatile, it packs really easily, and it makes you feel a little bit nicer.
Yeah, and I also pack a couple of extra shirts that I can wear in the evening, like these nice ones that have not been ironed for this video, but what are you gonna do?
Another way that you can dress up your dinner outfits a little bit is by purchasing some local scarves or maybe some local jewelry. We bought this scarf in Kenya really early in the trip, and I think I wore it to almost every dinner just because it kept me a little bit warm in the evening, as well as it made me feel kind of special and like I was actually in Africa instead of just wearing my normal clothes from home. As well, you're supporting a local community, you're buying yourself a souvenir. Overall, buying local accessories early in your trip and wearing them throughout is one of my favorite tips to tell people.
So for electronics, I'm not going to tell you what you need to bring. You know whether you're bringing 50 cameras or just your iPhone, an iPad, computer, whatever. But what I am going to tell you about is that at the lodges, sometimes the power isn't on throughout the day or for only limited periods during the night, so it can make it quite hard to charge all of your kit. So a very useful thing to bring, other than a lot of spare batteries, is a battery charging pack. Like, these are essential, especially if you're out on a long safari all day long. You might be taking millions of pictures, even if it's just on your phone, and that battery is going to drain. So bring a battery pack and you can charge up your stuff on the go. And another thing to note, if you're like me and you have millions of cables, batteries, hard drives, all that stuff, it can become quite messy and hard to keep organized and to handle. And luckily our friends at Tripped have designed a travel pouch just for that. How convenient. So yeah, and again, I've been using this pouch for years and it's just so useful and helpful for keeping all my stuff organized and easy to access. Another thing to note as well is maybe bring some things to keep yourself amused and occupied on these very long days and travel days. Bring plenty of entertainment on your phone as well as maybe a book, but a pack of cards is a super easy one and always goes down well, especially in a group environment.
So I'm going to talk to you guys about toiletries. And first, I want to talk about Tripp's toiletry bag because it's actually really good and really useful, especially when you're going in between places. It's one of those things that you can just pack it all into this one little compact cube. It's got a hanger, it opens up, it's got a million different little pockets, and it has this TSA compliant clear bag where you can keep all your liquids and just pull that out when you're going through security. That was loud.
Nothing was broken in the making of this video, hopefully.
I'm not going to tell you what I pack in my bag, 'cause you know what works for you, you know what's good. The things I do want to tell you about are sunscreen. You're going to need at least factor 50 if you are of a freckly, lobstery complexion like myself. I'm just being honest. The other thing to think about is bug spray. The bugs in Africa are really bad, especially at night. They are tiny. You will not even notice when they bite you. So make sure you bring some bug spray. And I'm sorry, environmentalists, but something with DEET. You're gonna need it. Trust me. And ladies, here's a couple things you don't need. You don't need hot hair tools. You're not gonna be able to use them at the lodges most of the time. You don't really need makeup, tinted sunscreen, maybe some mascara, that's it. And you don't really need jewelry. Pick up something local and don't worry about the rest. Another important thing that I always bring is a little med kit. Now this is basically just like my selection of random drugs that I take around the world with me. When you're on safari, you're gonna be nowhere near a drugstore. So anything that you think you might need, you probably want to bring with you. So that's painkillers, Band-Aids, vitamins, and especially things if your tummy gets a little weird. So things to stop you pooping and things to make you poop.
Someone had to say it.
And also, remember to bring any malaria pills that you're taking.
If you want to find out if you need to take malaria tablets for which country you're going to, the website that I always use that has all this information is called Fit for Travel. You can just go on there, look up the country that you're visiting, and it'll tell you exactly what vaccinations you need and whether you need to take malaria tablets. So definitely check out Fit for Travel, it has all that information there.
Another important thing to remember with vaccines is you need to bring printed copies of your vaccine certificates or vaccination records. They may be asking for them at the border. Speaking of borders, it's also important to bring printed copies of any visas that you have. Even if they're e-visas, a lot of the times these borders are going to ask for printed copies, especially the land border between Kenya and Tanzania. We actually had to go to a print shop so some people could print their visas. Not me though.
We were prepared.
here's a couple random things that you might want to bring that don't really fit into a category at all. We've got a water bottle. You cannot drink the tap water in Africa, but most of the lodges, as well as any tour company you're on, are going to have big reservoirs to fill up your water bottle every day, so you're never going to worry about fresh water. A neck pillow. You're going to be taking some long journeys, whether it's on the road or in the air, so keep yourself comfortable, get some sleep. I also like a little bum bag to keep all of my important stuff, like my passport, headphones, wallet, anything like that. You also probably want to take a day bag. I really like a collapsible one that I can pack in my main luggage. And the reason I like that is not just so I have a bag to take with me on safari to pack all my day stuff in, but also on the way home, if I've filled something with souvenirs, I have an extra bag to carry stuff home with me. And Tripped actually make one of these really great day packs that entirely fits the brief there.
And also, don't forget your binoculars, like I just have right now for this packing video. They're somewhere in the house, but you know, you know what binoculars look like.
We can't all be perfect.
So whilst you're visiting Africa, you're probably not going to just do a safari, you might tag on some other experiences as well. So we're just going to quickly mention some ideas of what you might also want to pack for those special experiences.
And these are just a couple extra items that you can add on to this basic packing list, so you're still completely ready to go. One place that we highly recommend if you're going to East Africa is to stop in Zanzibar and go to the beach, which we did in our previous trip. This will also work for if you're going to Mozambique or Mauritius or the Seychelles or any other beach destination in Africa that we haven't thought of here. So if you've got another fun beach destination in Africa that we haven't mentioned, just let us know. But keep it nice and simple. To add to our basic packing list, I've got one extra pair of shorts, one extra bathing suit, and then a beach dress.
I just brought an extra pair of swim shorts and that's it. For any on-foot wildlife trekking, like going to see the gorillas in Uganda or the chimpanzees, what you're going to need on top of the basic packing list is some long hiking trousers, some long hiking socks that you can tuck said trousers into, good hiking boots if you haven't packed them already, and also if you're in a jungle where there might be lots of sharp vegetation that you're scrambling through, they advise you to bring some gloves. In fact, they told us to bring some gardening gloves.
And the reason they say gardening gloves is because they've got these padded hands and protected fingers, so that if you're grabbing onto things in the jungle, you're not actually going to hurt your hands and the vegetation isn't going to come through and puncture your gloves.
No. It looks like he's about to murder someone.
The other thing to remember about jungle trekking is you actually do need to be wearing those safari neutral colors that we talked about earlier, because you're not going to be camouflaged by the Jeep anymore. Don't wear an orange jacket and scare the gorillas away. The other major thing to do in Africa is to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Now, full disclosure, neither of us have done that, but we've both done some major high altitude hikes in the past, so we can give you some tips about what you might need to wear. This is not intended to be an absolute packing list for Kilimanjaro, just some things that you might consider bringing along the way.
And what this comes down to is layers. You're going to need lots of different layers to adjust to the ever-changing temperatures as you're going up the higher altitude. So, as well as all the clothes we've mentioned previously, you're going to want some thin thermal layers, maybe a thicker down jacket, maybe a fleece, and then a neck warmer, some gloves that aren't designed for gardening, and also a toque, like my Winnipeg Jets toque right here. And we just made the playoffs. Come on! So that's it for our packing list. Hopefully it's been helpful and useful. As always, if we've forgotten to mention something, which we often do, then please leave it in the comments and let us know. But also, I'm now launching my own Amazon store where everything we've mentioned today you can purchase in one go. And that includes the trip travel gear, which will be featured in there, which you can access by clicking on the link in the description.
So what we've done is we've actually made it really easy for you. We've compiled these different lists of all the things you need, all those bits of gear that you might need when you're going on safari. And hey, we know you're gonna buy it from Amazon anyways. Instead of giving all your money to Jeff Bezos, toss a little bit to this guy.
Also, if you haven't checked out our 20 tips of things we wish we knew before doing a safari, then check out that video right now. If you haven't watched the documentary series of our time in Africa, then seriously go watch that, because this is what are we even doing here? But as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, thumbs up, comments, all the usual stuff. And then next up on the channel is going to be our New Zealand road trip from the start of the year. And it was our honeymoon, and we're going to share that with you. Not everything, perverts, but most of it. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye.
Waving again.